world. Aloha. I've been sitting here and I wanted to give us a formal introduction. I am Jason Schwartz, your host, and this is ALANA KAY, our guest. We are on the neutral zone, MauiNeutralZone.com. You can find us on KAKU radio, but surely on Akaku Maui Community, I call it TV media, and we live on YouTube and up on the web. But this 2022 election, we were just already talking about it. ALANA, thank you and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for doing this, Jason.
Well, you know, it's a little odd because I am a candidate for council, which we all vote in all districts, but you're running yet again for mayor of Maui. You know, you've run a couple of times before, right?
I ran for council in 2012 for South Maui, then mayor in 2014. I worked on Don Guzman's campaign in 2018, and then I needed to take a break, you know, activist burnout. I'm always busy. You know, I have a magazine, Sustainable Aloha, which requires a lot of work and all the other stuff I do. So sometimes you take a break.
No, but you know what, when you say take a break, as our world is, what do they say, in ruins around the world.
Right.
You said something that I thought in your opening statement at the Kia Community Association thing. I only listened to the beginning and said, oh, there's only part of the candidates here. But you said, we have to start thinking like we're an island. That is such a big thing. It's like, why are we doing these things and creating these projections that have nothing to do with, hey, we don't have enough room.
Right. The community plans don't tie in with that concept.
You've been at this stuff a while. What's your, if I were to say, what's your main passion about running? You know, you have a chance to win, but you have a passion for something that's
yes,
really.
I do. My passion, and I almost tear up when I say this, it's Maui. I love Maui. I've been here for 24 years, and honestly, every morning I wake up, I have a renewed appreciation for this place, for the energy, the people, the abundance, the natural landscape, the ocean, the fresh air, the starry skies, just absolutely everything. And I want to take care of her. I call it a her. My roommate calls it a he. I want to take care of Maui, and I see some things that need to be addressed. And I've studied them for many years. I have researched and I have come up with some tentative solutions. And I always say I don't have all of the answers. I just like to throw the things out there for discussion, but I like to do my due diligence before I express my viewpoint. And then I always welcome other people to fill in, you know, with blind spots or what they may think, but I really boiled it down.
I often think, and I've been at this also a long time and interviewing candidates that are serving and that the only way to really be heard and have what you just said really get traction is if you sit in that seat or you're an assistant to that seat. I always say,
right.
You know, I take my wisdom from the community along with me into the room.
Right, exactly.
I'm just leading a charge on a vision that should be larger than the separateness that politics creates.
Oh my God, that was, absolutely.
And I don't know if that's the right words to put it, but.
No, I love it. I love the way you put that. And that's the other thing I like about engaging with other people. I like how everybody has a different way of putting it. I see it as like facets on a gem. And mine, I want to unite everybody. I want to unite industry, government, and the populace in working together. Just as we said about the way the urban planning is, and everything is all just disconnected. And one thing I learned in sustainability classes at the college, a term that's used in sustainability very often is systems thinking, which is basically how the Ahupua'a system worked. And they were very successful with that and very sustainable. And there's
Let's let our audience, Ahupua'a is a Hawaiian section. It's a way they manage their real estate and community. That's what you're talking about. So we have viewers from all over the world. So
that's true. Yeah.
Just giving them a
The pre-contact Hawaiians, before the monarchy, they brought that. They had a feudal system, which meant that you didn't own land, but you shared all of the work. And it was all designed so that everything intricately worked together, including the people and their roles. And
it's
in
amazing that, yeah, remember they talk about 1 million people, and now
Right.
we're having a hard time with 200,000.
Right.
It's a matter of how you do it. We got to go back and grab the wisdom of old and stop.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is.
I'm getting goosebumps. Yes, I know. And the thing is that we're an island. And so we have to do it, but we also are able to do it. You can't do it in like Los Angeles, but we can do it. And we haven't gotten too far yet. We kind of are. But we're at a tipping point, I think. And that's what I want to get people to understand as I'm campaigning. And right, like you said, unless you're campaigning and unless you're in the seat, it's hard to be heard with these things. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it, is mainly because I want people. I've actually noticed other candidates have picked up on some of my talking points already.
Good.
And that's the main thing, is I want to educate people because I really believe in the things that we need to do.
And you created a magazine, and I've been doing these shows, same vision. The only way to have this happen is people step up, and they have to step up from their heart. You can't force them into duty. But the world is getting to a point where the tipping point is getting real clear. I mean, maybe some don't see it, but someone's taken a baseball bat to our world.
Yeah. But spiritually, I believe that this was the culmination of what I call the matrix anyway. It was the disconnected world. It wasn't connected to spirit. And we need to get back to, like you mentioned, the heart, living with the heart. And then when we live with the heart, we will live close to the land, and we will live in harmony with it and with nature and with each other. But
we're speaking, I want to call it New Age speak. Well, that was in 1970 and 80 and 90, they said New Age. Now the new kids, they're not only New Age, they're like little rockets. They're looking at us as ancient history. What do you mean you had a dial phone, no answering machines? What are you talking about? Yes. Every answer is at the tip of my hand. We're in a world now, it's almost like us old people have to wake up and remember who we are. Mm-hmm. And 40 years ago, what we thought about what was going on in the world before we got, I don't want to say tricked. It's not even tricked. These choices we make. I'm sure that's right. We all have the choices. Right. But the world is so pushing that money thing. I could solve problems too. And this isn't, I want to give forum here to you, but I'm sure we're going to agree and these ideas work together. Let me hear some of the things that you'd like to change. Do you think that there are areas you'd like to discuss? And this is a great forum for it. Perfect. Yeah, I like that painting behind you too. There's three main things, and everything else comes under that umbrella. We got to get away from a tourist-based economy. Well, let me backpedal just a little bit. We have some problems like the housing, the cost of living. And what I've done is I've used my wisdom and research and knowledge to come up with, well, what's causing that? Like building more housing or giving people money are just Band-Aid solutions, because that's just kicking the can down the road. We got to go to the cause of the problem. And on Maui, one of the causes what we have here is that we have a tourist-based economy. And anywhere on the planet where you have a tourist-based economy, the locals and the workforce are challenged to survive in that economy because it skews everything. You're bringing in outside money. Once again, systems thinking. If we had to rely on just ourselves, nobody coming in, nobody going out, just the natural flow of life, that we had to sustain our economy, it would be entirely different. But we're bringing in money and people from other economies that function very differently. And so that throws off the housing prices and everything. What I think, when I hear you that, I'm just breaking in for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I agree with that. But when we have a problem like now, we are looking at a cause, and some of these are systemic, like you say, be more thinking from the heart, realize we're taking in money from other places and we're skewing our balance. But now that we're here, I mean, most people listening want to bite into solutions. For example,
And the
when
solution,
I sat with the HGEA, I called them. I thought the Hawaii Pink Panther.
Mission
I figured
Impossible, really? No. Oh no, that's the Pink Panther.
I put the Pink Panther out. I figured an interruption people wouldn't mind because it's so fun. When you hear just a couple of notes, you know who it is. You name that too. But the fact is, they said to me, we the Hawaii Government Employees Association, our people don't make a living wage. What are you going to do about it? Now, I don't know what others, most of these people that come in are not rocket scientists. Any of us can claim that we're God and know all the answers, but we know together we can work at it. But I said, and I thought it caught some interest, if there be in the financial system a local trade credit, the most important things we have are housing and food. What if we could create an add-on in the financial system for local people that would offset that, as well as increase the supply now and reroute certain of these problems to other than an island? As an island, you know, you talk about, you know, putting up the wall and no more people can come. The wall is already up. It's called financial wall, except it's on the local people. So that's what I was talking about. It's like a way we can make that burden for local people less. And,
okay,
you know,
so I have my vision on that is somewhat conjecture. I like to watch out for that. Like, this sounds like a good idea. People do that all the time. Yeah, this is going to work. This is a good idea. Looks good on paper. So I'll admit that, but I believe very strongly in what I'm about to say. And I think it's mostly because by talking to people in the community through the years, there's so many people when speaking from the heart, they agree with this, is that Maui's strength, our weakness is the tourism and our strength is agriculture. I don't know if I need to go into it, but for those around the world, we have incredible, copious amounts of sunshine and rain. Our Central Valley, which has about 41,000 farmable acres in it, has some challenges because of sugarcane and because of the wind and various things, but Mahi Pono is doing the best they can to deal with those challenges. They've planted over 1 million trees. Do you know that?
Yeah, I do. And I know that the water issue, you know, that's a whole separate.
Right. And that's one of my things too. So there's 3 things that feed into all of this. And to me, it's kind of like the basic infrastructure. The other things are like, they're all good ideas, you know, whether it's what you mentioned for making it
more affordable, but you're right. You're talking about the basic.
So let's say we have a 10-year plan, because it takes a while to change things, to kind of, you know, get things turned in the right direction. We're already started in the right direction because as I've been watching, we have at least 1,100 small farms that have become, over the last couple of decades, very abundant. Good. And they put a lot of work into that. We have more and more ecotourism opportunities, farm tours. That took a lot of work. It's already taken root. It's already growing. And now we have all of the things being planted in the Central Valley. And I ask people to go to Mahi Pono's website and see everything that they've done. It's hard to tell from the road. They're selling their produce in the stores and it's under the label Maui Harvest. So we are on our way. And most people agree that we want food security and that we not only could have food security for us, but be exporters. But as you can see, it's going to take a few more years yet. I'm also noticing there's a place I took pictures of, I'm going to put on my website, a store called Tutu's Pantry in Kihei. It's in the Rainbow Mall. It's all value-added Maui products, chocolate, honey, coffee, kukui nut products, massage oils, cooking oils, everything, soaps. And so my vision is to steer everything into agriculture and agricultural products, and then the arts, which you and I know very well. The arts, we have more, what do you call those, where the people put their art stores, what do they call those?
Galleries.
Yeah, art galleries per capita than any place on the planet, because we attract, Maui's energies naturally attracts artists and musicians and so on, and focus on all of that. Whereas the tourism associations, they usually focus on bringing in more tourists. And then we had this international airport put in because the state wanted more money from Maui, and that's a whole nother subject. But if we focus on that, we can gradually steer economy that way. And then it's not the tourist-based economy. And I really feel when it comes, this is the one thing that's come up a lot lately, and you've probably heard this too, managed tourism. So what is that? Once again, I don't have all the answers. I can think of a few things, but that's where we need to get working groups and task forces to flesh out all the different angles on it and discuss it, maybe bring in some experts and see what other people have done, and start to manage our tourism differently rather than just letting it be.
Rather than dollars or number of bodies,
Yeah, they want
isn't it a matter of dollars per square tourist, dollars per square visitor, and they can improve the quality of the experience here? It's pretty high already. I mean, when I hear, no, well, can't have your brother come in because he can't find a room for less than $1,300 a night. What kind of crazy?
That's not helping the local house prices to have it that high.
It's nuts. And
So-
here the rental rates go up 41% in a year. You and I know that's the G factor. That's not God. That's greed. And
Right.
those, it's beyond my
And
understanding.
allowing people from outside, you know, in 2020, there was a rash of buyers, even worse than ever. That's when the prices really jumped. From that don't consider this their main residence. So why is that being allowed? I mean, the taxes should be really high on people who don't live here, that don't file taxes in Hawaii, and that would help with that. Like, you know, there's lots of ideas about what could be done to prevent that kind of thing.
And this is a nice place to bring them up, I think, because if people will look at what we're doing here with these interviews, they may see real answers, and also realize that they have to be involved, because you are
People need
only
to
as
get
effective
involved.
as.
Right.
That's the
what I
bottom line.
really, that's what I always encourage people to do is, and I talk about that on my website. And oh, by the way, I made a little booklet called My Vision for Maui, and it's on my website.
What's your web address, please?
ALANA KAY for mayor.info.
ALANA K FOR for
Yeah.
mayor.
For mayor.info. And there's a tab on there, My Vision, and you can download a PDF of the book. It can also be bought a soft cover on Amazon for like $4, $5, I think. So I do mention in there that we need to return the narrative. I mean, if you start talking about something, you don't always need a law. And you can't, I always say you can't legislate morality or behavior.
Yeah, I always say if you don't act from what is right, no one's going to be able to move your rudder.
Yeah, move your rudder. So I just thought, you know, let's start the conversation. I did an interview with Kavika Hoke,
Yeah.
the rabbit holes. And
well, it's interesting that you're hearing these young kids get involved, and I
like
thought
that.
about him, and I thought,
yeah,
what is he? Where is he? But I guess he's got a. I'm glad to see there are people that are thinking I maybe want to interview candidates. All
that's
these years,
what I like.
look at me, how many years I've been doing
know,
this?
I know.
26 years, and nobody picks up the ball to interview. right now during the primaries, we should know who these people are.
That's what I said in the KCA forum. I said, really, people, study your candidates, do your research on the issues so you know who to vote for.
Yeah.
And that's so critical. If we just keep voting for somebody because their name is familiar, what we're getting, sorry, people who are in office, we're getting these lifetime politicians. And I feel like it's the younger people and the freshness, not to, I mean, we bring a lot of wisdom, okay? But I mean, if you've been in government for 20, 30 years, I think that's a little too long.
And the average age keeps going up. Have you noticed that? There's been a young people. I have not seen enough young people involved. And I want to make an aggressive reach, you know.
I try to,
especially now, where such things are so important. The fact that we have same day voting, what a gift. That is our gift to make change.
The young people don't like to get involved. And I kind of don't blame them. They were born into a world that's pretty chaotic and confused. You know? But when I was at the college, I would do anything I could to try to encourage people to develop their gifts, want to be involved, believe in their self. I actually did a lot of legwork that took some time and some convincing to get the head of the sustainability program at the college together with it's got 4 names. There's a commission that Don Guzman used to be the head of. It's like energy, agriculture, it's 2 other things.
Yeah, environment. It's changed to Nancy right now, I think. But anyway, you got them presented.
What they were doing was at the college, kids weren't wanting to sign up for the sustainability bachelor's degree because they didn't feel that there was a job for them when they graduated on Maui. And then as I've done all my interviewing for my magazine and research, I find that almost nobody in our government understands island hydrology or sustainability really. It's not just plastic bags and straws. There's a lot more to it. I was like, why don't you guys connect?
Didn't they have now established the Department of Agriculture, right?
Right.
And they're looking for someone. Notice they're not easily finding people, even at great deals of money, like you're saying. And someone that understands the system. Have they done, I don't know what they've done. I always say, what about the old Hawaiian farmers? I've heard so many success stories in Hawaiiana in gardening. I think I'd like to really explore that more. You know, that's another. I don't want to go off on another subject. You talk about the knowledge that it takes, and you talk about that they're not doing. Is there a way for us, as mayor? What was the first thing? I mean, you have now control. What do you want to do? I don't mean to be funny about it, but
no. As mayor, I've definitely thought about it through the years. What would I do if I was in that position?
Sure.
And first of all, I see myself, I would feel myself, I love getting out into the community and connecting the dots and talking to people and sharing. So I see myself as an ambassador to the community to bring people together and to get people talking about these things like we're talking about them. And that's what Kavika said too. He says, yes, what's needed is for us to talk about this stuff. I really want to do a lot of that. I did that with Sustainable Aloha. I would go to the schools and I teach kids about hydrology and things like that. I wanted to do more of it, but it was hard to get it to take off.
Hydrology meaning the
island
science
hydrology
of liquid.
The way the water, all the moisture flows. The wetlands to the way the clouds orographic rain and how we're creating heat islands with all of the building in Kahului. What it does is because we're using the wrong building materials and we have all the traffic and the asphalt and everything, what happens is that's all absorbing the sun and it creates it radiates the heat. And then what happens is it affects our orographic rain. We make most of our rain because of the higher elevations. Lanai, for instance, doesn't make its own rain. They really struggle over there because they don't have any higher elevations. Because what happens is the moisture from the ocean goes up and then it turns into clouds and then precipitation. And then it
Yeah.
goes down through, you know, and then you got your trees and you got, I
So
mean, it's a whole cycle.
Well,
And
I'm trying to go back to you as mayor. I'm going to,
Okay,
here you
all
are.
right. So
Because I understand what you're saying, and these are things for us to go to. But here in this emergency condition, we know housing, but water. What I think that's what people want to hear is really.
Well, food
I mean,
security, I want to talk about these things with the public and get them behind it. I want to get people educated. I would use my position to do that. So I was trying to do that with Sustainable Aloha, but once again, like you said, when you're a smaller entity, it's kind of tough. So I would do the same thing I was trying to do with Sustainable Aloha, get people to understand and get people to want to be involved in doing their kuleana. I mean, that's what I was addressing before, that we all have a part in this. You can't just live here, work here, survive, and just use the resources without understanding, going back to the Ahupua'a system, where everybody had a role in society and taking care of the Aina. And we've gotten away from that, where everybody's just in this survival mode. And not that, like I said, I can't change that. I can't force that change. But if I start talking about it, I've learned in life, once you start talking about stuff, that's very effective. So,
well, I like to believe you, and I keep wondering. We're the only television station here. I've been talking for 30 years, and you talk about change. I have interviewed me talking to the president of Maui Electric in 1995 about solar self-sustainability. I was on the resource planning, and the people that are in our disconnected, you said it earlier, this does not understand and coordinate.
right.
There are some people and champions in our community that talk about it. There's the Dick Mayers and Lucienne and Al Perez and all these,
Right.
but the people,
And they don't work together either. All the different groups are so cliquey. And I was really encouraging this young guy to get involved, and I warned him. And then he comes back to me a year later. He says, "I'm tired of trying to do stuff here. Everybody's so cliquey." And so that's the thing, is that the environmental groups aren't working together. They're not working with Mahi Pono. Mahi Pono's not working with them. The government isn't working with the college. It's like nobody's working together. So I'd like to create that atmosphere.
Good.
And the other thing is that a mayor can present any legislation to the council. So they have the departments and they have the corp council at their disposal to write legislation. And the next thing that would come out of that would be, and you're going to get a common answer from a few people like Robin Knox or Lucy and Danae. We need to do integrated water resource management, which recognizes the hydrologic cycle. That's a whole subject, but it's really super important because our Iao aquifer has been in danger since the 1990s. Essentially, nothing's been done about it.
That is just the shock of all shocks, because it was dangerous. When I first come to the island, they talk about the rising saline level. I cannot believe how they play hot potato with these crazy issues. Housing.
They like to blame climate change, and they also don't understand. I interviewed these people extensively, David Taylor, and then the next guy, I don't know who's in there now. They do not understand island hydrology. They think that the answer, and there's millions of dollars spent every year for things that are getting us nowhere, looking for new water sources. They don't understand that what we have to stop doing is damaging the source that we already have. We're damaging it. We're neglecting it.
How could they not know that? They know.
I don't know. And then when I say, they say, oh, this is what they say in our government offices, and people need to be aware of this, because you always think, oh, somebody's handling it. The state took over control of the Iao aquifer, and I've talked extensively with Charlie Ice, who is one of the head honchos at the Commission on Water Resource Management on the state level. And so I know what has and has not been done. All they did was get the county of Maui to stop. They closed off 2 wells that were brackish in the Navai'eha area. For anybody, that's the 4 rivers, the big rivers. But they haven't done anything on the replenishment side. The replenishment side is where we protect the orographic rain cycle by making sure we don't overbuild. They haven't done, they keep building that new civic center they're putting in Wailuku
Yeah.
is over the EO aquifer. And once again, you're preventing when the rain is coming down, it's supposed to seep in the ground and keep recharging the aquifer. It's already built over. Now you're going to build more stuff over it. They clearly don't understand.
Well,
No, it's shocking. It is shocking that they don't understand this.
I'll give you another one that I only heard of the other day a month ago, and I felt, wow. Did you know that the weight of gravity on columns of certain size, putting certain crystals underneath, can have enough weight and structure to power a whole building, a multi-story building? That power can be generated from natural forces. We as people haven't used natural forces to solve the problems. We're looking for all these things when the problems are right here.
I know, and it's the G word again. It's the greed. It's because the people don't want to give up what the money they're making off of certain things. And when you're talking about energy and using natural things, you know, I didn't care too much for Arakawa, but he did a couple things that were really important. There's another one I want to bring back, is he tried to get the county of Maui to, well, I guess I'm not exactly sure what the procedure is, but there's this company called Energia. Do you remember that?
I do.
And it would have cost like $20 million, but how long can we keep throwing stuff in the landfill here? What they do is they take all of the trash and they turn it into power.
Now, I have other spins on that and the way they were doing it and what happened, maybe for another show. But Energia tried, and they kept getting their contract extended because there are certain elements that weren't being able to be completed. And the public is screaming for answers. And I think the big problem that I see in general is that we don't have terribly many long-term thinkers.
Right.
No one's looking over the horizon. When in 1990, we were talking about the 20-year energy future. Here we are, we're way past that. When I say solar, no one thinks of me as solar. No one, we have to look over the horizon now.
Right, even past, we're not going to be here in 30 years or whatever, but
I would like to see what our mayor, you know, whoever be the mayor, with maybe it's you, is going to deal with an agriculture department. And this is such a large force now coming on in the council to have a major committee for environment and things like they're doing. And now agriculture, we're creating another. The new mayor has to be prepared. I'm afraid, from what I've seen, I don't really know Richard Bisson. Maybe you do. More
a little bit. I've been in forums with him and meet and greets.
But I'm concerned that Mike Victorino is listening to the same old voices.
Of course.
Because I consider, for example, this an emergency. If I have a 270, that's someone at the county. This is an emergency, and people aren't using emergency funds to handle emergencies. When I hear them say, oh, we don't have enough money for those 23 metal boxes that are additional housing solution.
Right.
23 boxes, you don't have enough money for that. You know, if they can house thousands of refugees, why can't we put up tents in the trees and create a safe place? Because
safe parking lots, we need a lot of that stuff.
So as mayor, I'm putting words in your mouth. Yeah. That's what I need, mayor.
Yeah. Okay.
I need you to have the word balls doesn't go with you, but
right. No. I've been described as having balls. I have been. So don't worry about it.
But I need someone who isn't afraid to take an aggressive. This COVID time posed a special challenge.
Yeah.
Mike Victorino, I think, in my opinion, is such a tough issue to solve everybody's problems. He kept us safe. We're out the other end, but I don't see the vision piece. I watch this.
Now you brought up the homelessness. Okay, so when I talk about a 10-year plan to diversify our economy, what I can see that we would need to do some interim things to help people on an emergency basis. So we have the homeless crisis. We have all these people, they need safe parking lots. They need a homeless shelter down in Kihei. I always say they need better intake. I was involved. I was going to a lot of meetings that Kelly King was having a couple years ago. They were working with Kahului Akeola because they had some funds that could be used. But this is what I run into, and I've said this at all the forums. So often when these politicians, I feel like they're so distanced from it. When you're out in the community, you understand it differently, that they think that the homeless issue is people who are mentally ill or substance abusers. And they don't understand that's not even the half of it. That's just a very small, visible homeless. If you're down in Kihei, there are people up and down the streets, every street of Kihei, sleeping in cars and parking lots if they can. And these are working people. I see pickup trucks all over with tools in the back, mattress. Technically, according to the federal government, if there's more than one unrelated family living in a home, that's homeless because it's substandard housing. We have, probably, I don't know, I'd have to do some work to get the numbers. I have done the work to get the numbers that approximately 50% of our population can't afford median rent. If you have it not exceed 36% of their gross income. I have done that work. So I would estimate that maybe 40%, 35, 40% of the homes are occupied by non-related people. You know, and when you see all those cars parked outside of a house, that's not a used car lot. That means there's all those people living in that house.
And that's, there's so many issues, that old expression. Sometimes it's difficult to remember that your original intention was to drain the swamp when you're up to your ass in alligators. This place is filled of alligators. And so good intentions are sometimes met with.
I'll tell you what, I gotta tell you something. I used to manage apartment buildings when I was younger. I started when I was 19. That's what our generation used to do. We were already, we were buying houses in our 20s, but the economy was different then. But by the time I was 23, I was managing a place that was in pending foreclosure. They had tried 3 different people, very highly paid, they pay them very well, highly educated. The place was in pending foreclosure, and the court-appointed receiver management company decided to put an ad in the paper. And they hired me out of 77 applicants, they said, because I went to the property and I gave a tentative plan of action to bring the thing back to life. It was across from a college and it needed massive repairs. It was, I think there's only 8 units occupied when the management company took it over. When I got there, it might have had 60 units out of 160. We had to work with no money, creative solutions. I had to do PR in the community to get people to give us credit, even though they had lost their credit through the years because of the reputation of the building. And we brought it back. And it's a thriving community now. I see those kind of things as fun. And I think that's what it really takes. You can't take somebody who's like, oh, I could just use a job, or
I'm with you. I like to think people have to be more involved, management on premises or involvement. The separation between administrative and the work getting done. You talked about top-heavy government versus a publicly involved kind of situation.
Right.
You think like I think. Take hands-on. You're talking about
I want to be out in the community. I want to be talking to department heads. I want to be reorganizing the workload in government. I want to do all of that.
And what you said,
I've done it before.
Establishing credit, establishing integrity, and reestablishing value both for the workers, everything. That kind of a feeling like we all love each other a little bit. And if we do this, we're going to survive and thrive.
Shit rolls downhill. So Yeah, and also I wrote 8 books. The last few years I've written 8 books. I'm very patient. Nothing is too, I enjoy the process. And I personally, I know the guys get up there and say, well, I was this and I did this. And, I haven't heard anything about anybody's achievements, however, so I invite them to come forward and tell me what, in all those years you've been in public service, what are your achievements, not just your diplomas and your
I understand.
your pay stubs. I mean, I really feel like I'm going to boast here and say I really think, looking at the personalities, I'm the only one that has a personality to do this. But I'm seeing this as an interesting experiment in human behavior, because they go for the big guy. I mean, I don't want to cry I had 5 brothers growing up. That's probably why I'm so tough. But they go for these big guys, and it's like, oh, because you said you were a judge for 35 years and then I come along and people think, well, she's not tough enough. You have no idea. I am so just because I'm happy, nice, smiley, and loving does not mean I'm not tough. I'm like the Rock of Gibraltar. If there's something I believe in, or I have a passion on something, and I think things out before I speak and before I make a decision too.
And I know that people in the community that know you need to be reminded to share their experiences with you, because as little guys, we're up against these Goliaths with huge money. So
right, the money. Yeah.
The value of your testimony and sharing is invaluable. Mm-hmm. Sharing an interview like this that get you up close with candidate ALANA KAY is priceless. And we don't have those. You'd think that the government or that the community would demand before a primary to know who our candidates are.
Isn't it like the simplest things in life that really, it's like, I know.
If I said, this is the movies we're gonna now play, I'm just thinking of it now. Survivor. Someone drops you on Maui, and you have all these problems that you've got to handle, but you're not a homeless person. You have money. You have all kinds of resources. What's the most important thing that you think we need to change, and how might you go about it? I mean, that's sort of a general question, but people looking at us from a distance somehow look at us and see us all like a chess game where we're all little checkers. We're on the board. Anything that you view that we really need to get on?
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on that. The first thing I'm thinking of is I ran into a tourist, a snowbird. You know what a snowbird is? In the water.
Comes here in the good, right.
Right.
To get away from the cold.
You know what? He literally listed my platform. When he said what Maui, he heard I'm running for mayor, he covered my entire platform. So I feel like the 3 basic things that I've come up with is really, the integrated water resource management, diversifying the economy, and I know there's one other. I know what the 3 are. I say them all the time.
But you're talking the same world. You have an integrated resource planning and implementation model in specific areas, and you're open to all comers. And I can see you're someone who's studying and looking at this whole thing as a thing,
a system.
Right. And I see that I am the same way. I came that way. Here I am 30 years later going, I have to run again. You're running because what else are you going to do? But be that strong leader that you are. And I applaud you. People think running for office is just a light. Oh, you're in for office.
Oh, you have to have a thick skin because people say stuff about you. I couldn't believe the stuff people said last time. It was really yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
But I know
that's why a lot of people don't run. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of the ridicule, and they don't want to be exposed to the public, and they don't want false things said about them and criticism. That's why a lot of people don't run.
Well, you've put your hat in the ring, and we have probably 5, 6, 7 minutes to the end of the show. I don't want to cut off things that you know you would really like to tell people. So let me give you the stage. May I? Anything that you think are really important that you'd like to
I think the way I feel inside, that I feel the strongest about, that if I could tell the public, please take the time to look at some of the issues here. There's so much information on the internet. Find out what's really going on here. Kind of spot check, some of the legislation, check around, look at the budget, look at the county budget. It's very telling. You can see the different pie charts that they have in there. Just spend one evening looking at the county budget with your family and look at where the money's going and look where the priorities are. Look at some of the environmental publications. There's a lot of them out there. I don't have time to really list them right now. Maybe I should put them on my website. They got a lot of good information on them. And study the issues, get to know the issues, get an education to the extent that you possibly can. But please stop voting for people because their name is familiar, or they have the most money, or they have the most signs. Because if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. And we really need some change here on Maui. And everybody needs to be a part of that. It's like we talked about. I feel very strongly about this. People need to reclaim that community feeling that we're all in this together and we all need to do our part. Everybody should be volunteering at something. Even if it's a little highway cleanup every 2 months or something like that. Whatever you can do, please get involved. We can't expect the government to be God. And that's part of why we have such a large budget. That's part of why everything's gotten so chaotic, because we keep entrusting our lives to the government. And we need to reclaim that as a society. And we all need to ask, what is it my part to do? We need to start caring. When there is a crisis like there was a couple years ago, when you go into the store, don't hoard water, don't hoard toilet paper, don't hoard canned goods, because we're all in this together. Leave some for everybody else. I just felt like there's so much, there's not enough of people realizing that everything is connected. We have to care about the environment. We have to care about each other. We are on an island. We need to think like an island. And
I think that from when I hear you talk like an idealist. And yeah. I am going to say, I guess publicly, I'm an idealist too. But I am putting my feet on the ground, putting my butt out there again after 27 years, 26 years. Why? Because I've been talking with all the people all these years that are supposed to be making changes happen. But they don't listen to me seriously. Oh, it's just Jason talking about how we should promote art and music and raise money for development that won't cost Maui anything. And we can solve the problems and implement them in here. Show them to. All that stuff has been here all this time and no one grips onto it.
Well, as a visionary.
The public is here. That's why they're watching this show. They're sitting and watching ALANA KAY and Jason Schwartz. And we're hoping they're going to reach out and volunteer at something. Politics or otherwise, share your goodwill. And if you like what you see here, share it. We, all of us, need to know who our candidates are. Yeah. Here's a beautiful candidate who has great ideas, whether she becomes mayor or not. She needs to be really applauded and supported. I know that, I only have as much power as I'm able to showcase people on media. Some people think, oh, well, you're not really involved in anything. You're not. I've been putting these ideas out. They all go together. They go together, people. And we've been doing all of this and not getting paid for it, just having faith, the visionaries, and you got to be patient, because I don't want to believe that my visions will come true after I'm gone. I'd love to see my visions come alive. And my books are all very visionary and encouraging. And they can all get that through your website for mayor, the same spot? Or is there a different web address? Yeah, well, I listed all my websites on it's in the booklet.
Yeah, my websites
Let's
are available for my publishing and
So
also
it's
for
ALANA
sustainable
KAY
aloha.
for mayor.com.
.info.
Oh, ALANA KAY for mayor.info. I did one like that. I did
And then there's
may the
sustainable aloha.
Schwartz be with you
Hey, the
dot
Schwartz.
us.
That's cute.
Not everybody's the Schwartz.
And then
I
there's
also
sustainable
dream
aloha.
Maui, which is where I was from the beginning. Can you imagine when internet was starting, I chose dreammaui.com or dreammaui.net and with MauiNet. And all these years later, they tell me my website is worth a couple of $1,000
Right.
because the name. But this
Right.
is a vision I tried to show Maui 3 decades ago. Maui, wake up, Maui. Maui
know,
is
just-
woken up. Our leaders are not. They're dealing with these 2 years, 4-year cycles, and they're not dealing with the over horizon deals the way
Yeah.
they should. Thank you for being part of it, Alana.
Thank you.
I don't want to say the last word. I really want to give you the last word. I'm going to wave goodbye to everyone. Well, thank you for watching. Let Alana take the show out. Alana?
No, I'm good. I think I said everything I need to say. And I love you, Maui. I love the people, and I love Maui, and I want to take care of it.
We are very happy to have you here, and thank you for stepping up and being part of this. ALANA KAY, nonpartisan choice. That's so funny. For nonpartisan, we're all running for under the same thing. I guess I can't help but mention that. They tell you they strip you of any kind of thing to give a voter any idea who you are. What is the point on this if we don't have a way to get up close?
Yeah, that might be why they did. There might have been a motive in doing that, but we're good. Yeah, it's just that, educate yourself on the issues and on the candidates, please. We really need to get people in there that are really going to work. Pedal to the metal, boots on the ground. Yep.
Well, thank you
Vote
everyone for
Jason Schwartz.
joining us.
Okay, thanks.
No. I don't want to cut off your last words. You
No,
are a breath of fresh air. Thank you for doing this. You are my first interview in this season. You are welcome again. I
Okay.
am a believer that, we're in this together. You have more you want to say? You are welcome here.
Okay, I'll let you know. Mahalo.
Well, thank you guys for joining us, and please watch again. And you can see all this again up at MauiNeutralZone.com, or just put the name ALANA KAY, Jason Schwartz in YouTube and watch what happens. Bye, everyone. See you again.